Explain like I'm 5. What does mindfulness mean? I see it in every mental health article, but I don't understand it. Generally, self-awareness and consciousness of one's self in the moment. A lot of problems are characterized by being trapped in your own thoughts and indulging in a self-sustaining feedback loop of problematic or disruptive thoughts. One way to interrupt this is to do activities that force you to be conscious of yourself and your surroundings in the here and now. That is, to engage in mindfulness activities. Paying strong attention to information coming in through your senses: sight, smell, feel, taste, sound in this current moment. Often, we can get lost in our own thoughts to the extent that we are unaware of things happening around us. We worry about things that are in the past, over and done with. We worry about what might happen in the future. We eat food without tasting it, and walk without seeing the scenery. Mindfulness is about being in this present moment and experiencing it as fully as possible. It usually refers to a type of meditation where you concentrate your focus on the here and now. This could include concentrating on your breath or one of your senses, or doing a body scan. It works by calming the mind and body and can distract people with busy minds. It's become a bit of a vague, overused and underdefined term. When I was going through therapy, it was sort of a case of focus on things you are currently experiencing in front of you rather than focusing on your thoughts. Which is weird because it almost seems like the opposite of what the word seems like it should mean. When I do it, for example, I will look at an object I can see in front of me and consider what I know about that object. How it was made, what its purpose is, what its color is, etc. A common occurrence when starting yoga is that someone will mention that part of their back hurts, that they didn't realize was hurting until they did yoga, which is based around targeting all the specific muscles in your body. If someone isn't mindful of their body, they may be unaware that they're putting strain on a specific part of their back, likely from sitting with bad posture. Once they do a mindful activity like yoga, they become more aware of how their body actually feels. And from then on, they can know to change how they sit so that part of their back doesn't hurt anymore. To be mindful is to be aware. You can think thoughts and you can feel emotions, but if I were to ask you what is going through your mind right now, or what you are feeling right now, you need to be mindful of yourself to answer that question. Mindfulness is the practice of being aware of those things, thoughts, emotions, rather than running on autopilot. You know how in SpongeBob Patrick thinking is just milk spilling over? It's showing that he's just barely thinking and paying attention. It's the opposite of mindfulness. Mindfulness is being in touch with how you feel about the moment and feeling that. Mindfulness is the translation of satipatthana, but unfortunately has come to mean something completely different and not very useful in pop Western psychology than the derivative practice. The easiest way I can explain it is awareness of something without judgment, with the intention to be curious and kind. Step 1: be mindful. Step 2. Step 3: ness. Step 4: profit. It's the new buzzword for not stressing out over stuff you can't control or isn't a priority right now. That's a great question. It is up there with telling people to practice something or study something without telling them how to practice or study. Being mindful means setting aside time to quiet your mind from the cacophony of daily life. It involves any combination of meditative or reflective thought. One might try to sit quietly and focus on the immediate moment. The act of breathing in and out. The sensations in your body. The sounds of the world around you. During this time, you attempt to let thoughts come and go without following them, just letting them flow through naturally. There's a you part of you who does things, i.e., thinks, speaks, controls your body and therefore eats, cooks, walks, etc., and there's a you who observes yourself doing things. Sometimes it can be a little like a writer and an editor working together. Mindfulness is letting the latter be fully consciously aware of the former without rushing to judgment and grabbing control unless needed to save you from something, etc. It's a concept that eludes words, but this is the best way I've found to personally remind myself how to find it. Anyone looking for a simple way to practice mindfulness? Focus on 5 things you can feel, hear, see, and smell. It's an empty platitude they repeat to sound authoritative, convincing, and like they know what they're talking about. It serves to convince you of their credibility without earning it, not actually provide you any meaningful aid. Self-help authors and pop psychologists writers are the worst. One very important aspect of mindfulness to me is the realization that you are not your thoughts. Mindfulness is disconnecting, slowing down, and observing every single thought that comes into your mind and every single feeling that occurs in your body. Separate yourself from them and observe them as they come and go. It's pretty much a buzzword that doesn't really have any meaning that people say to feed you snake oil. The mental health industry and health industry in general makes their money making you feel like you need to buy their courses and products even though they do nothing. Make the individual feel like they're missing out on something and then provide the solution in the form of a product. Make them feel like the failure when it ultimately doesn't work. It's nonsense made up, stolen by essential oil salespeople to sell self-help material to people who need therapy or medication. Read Listen to Anything by Jon Kabat-Zinn. He makes it easy to understand, and he's also one of the leading researchers proving the benefits of mindfulness since the 70s. Mindfulness is eating a bowl of cereal while truly enjoying the flavor, nourishment, and peace of sitting and eating. The opposite is eating a bowl of cereal quickly and thinking about that email you have to send as soon as you get to work. It means nothing. It is essentially a buzzword they add to scam articles to make them sound smart. It's mumbo jumbo. The closest actual technique it's comparable to is grounding, where you focus on your surroundings like sounds, smells, or sights to distract yourself from your thoughts. It's a vague buzzword that means absolutely nothing significant in terms of actual mental health. Consciously controlling your thoughts, and doing everything deliberately, basically not being on autopilot. It means someone needed funding for a study and it was in that week. Also means about the same thing as Smurf. A buzzword that's 75 through its cycle of being a buzzword. The enlightened will soon sprout a new mantra and lots of middle-aged, failed humans will jump on board. It's a bunch of liberal bullshit. That's what it is. This is a Frank Reynolds reference and is intended solely for entertainment if it's not that entertaining. What are you thinking about right now? Take a moment and do your best not thinking about that. Nice work, you just practiced mindfulness. Mindfulness is like weightlifting for your brain. Every thought can be thought of as a weight, some heavier than others, and every time you let that thought go as a rep, as opposed to regular weightlifting. However, you're actually practicing the art of relaxing and strengthening your focus at the same time. By thinking about thinking, you're increasing your self-awareness and gaining the ability to better modulate your thoughts and emotions instead of just letting them run rampant within your head.